I'm joined by head coach Ashley Smeltzer-Kraft from Shenandoah University Field Hockey. They were picked number 3 in this year's preseason poll. Coach, last year is probably the most unique year you've ever spent in your field hockey tenure, especially going into your 9th season there at Shenandoah. Talk a little bit about that experience that went through last season and how your team progressed through it.
Honestly, I've never been so cold on the field hockey field as I was last spring. We started practices like 5:15 in the morning, and I think we froze for most of them. So that was the biggest change for us. But, it was really difficult not having a preseason leading up to season. And I think that impacted us a lot, was just trying to get going right away. But other than that, honestly, it felt like the same competitive level that it's felt like, my previous 7 seasons to that. And just happy to have been able to have played and to get through it and to make it feel as normal as possible for the players.
Not only did you play, but you were successful, coming through with 7 wins overall, coming within a stone's throw, making another final in the ODAC tournament before falling to Lynchburg in overtime in the semifinals. Talk a little bit competitively about that, about how you felt your team grew throughout that campaign.
Yeah, we had a mix. So we relied a lot on a junior class that had seen a lot of success, but also had played a ton, started a lot of games and given us a bunch of minutes in previous years. And then we had some freshmen that impacted our game right away from our very first one against Lynchburg. So just a mix of experience there, but I think it all gelled together at the end. And we're in the semifinal game and in it pretty late in the game. So that's where you want to be as a coach, especially with some younger players that are impacting the game. So happy to have made it that far, but obviously wish that we had made that final game.
So you mentioned it might have been a little bit rough that you didn't have like a normal preseason going into last year, but is there anything to maybe having a spring season just 3 months ago now, maybe even a little bit less than that, and coming into and having a full preseason now, coming into this season?
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing with building up for a season is, where's your fitness level at, not your hockey fitness level, but your actual fitness level. So we went from our spring season where we had built that, and then our players transitioned into the summer where, they're working on their own or in pairs, and then right into the fall. And I think that's probably the biggest difference, is that fitness has just kind of stayed there and we're not having to get it back at all. And then it just felt like, we're on the field for our first practice yesterday, and it was like, okay, yeah, we've been here recently and we're just right back into it, which was nice.
That has to be nice, and has to be nice for those younger players that you have to really get right back into it, not miss out on the thing. And we can talk a little bit about that, because you returned the player of the year in Kelsey Jones from last season, but then you have 3 players that were first years last year that were all conference players, including last year's rookie of the year. Talk a little bit about the state of the squad, including some of those players that you expect to step up for you this year.
I think some of those younger players, while they were panicked because they've never experienced a true preseason,
Right.
they got through our fitness testing and they're ready to go. So to have sophomores that have had that experience and had it so recently, I think it's going to really play well for us. And there's sophomores who weren't on those all conference teams that were mainstays in our starting lineup. So
Right.
they're all more fit. They all have that year under their belt now, and they're just going to hop right back into it and get after it. And then, having the balance of our upperclassmen that have played and that have contributed. Obviously, Kelsey Jones brings a lot to our game plan and, our team in general. So just awesome to have like those 2 combined again.
We take a look at your rise, winning the 2016 ODAC title, and then Bridgewater in 2015 and Washington and Lee in 2017. And obviously Lynchburg there has won 21 titles, including the last 3. But we've already talked about how you took them to overtime in the semifinals last year. And then you see a team like Randolph-Macon maybe trying to climb the ladder back again to the ODAC as well. Talk a little bit about the competitiveness within the league and what you see for the conference this season.
There are no off days. There are no off games. Every single time that you have an ODAC game, it's go time. So, you're always going to get everyone's best. And then having all of those programs rise at the same time, it's competitive, it's challenging, and that your game plan has to be perfect to win those games. And for me, it's exciting because, I've been in the league, this would be my 9th year now. And to watch how these programs have grown has been awesome, because it just helps you in the long run, right? It pushes your program even more.
Yeah, I think that's key for all of us. And I think one thing we're looking forward to is, when we take a look at the national perspective, maybe it's partly because of the size of the bracket being a little bit smaller, but are we on the cusp of getting that second team in that at-large bid? Do we think we're quite there yet?
I sure hope so. The number of at-large bids for field hockey are quite limited, but I certainly hope so. We've had a presence on the national committee, so just trying to like put the ODAC out there and make sure that the ODAC's voice is heard. And I think that our play will start to speak for itself here and hopefully get that second team in.
Well, Coach, we all look forward to that. And I thank you for joining us today to talk about it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.